Okay, so welcome once again. This is Sunday, 2nd of October 2022, and this is our weekly market review for week 41. All right, which means we have roughly about 11 more weeks, 11, 12 more weeks to the end of the year. So, as usual, this is the platform where, if this is your first time here, all right, you're welcome. And this is a platform where we usually just take a look at the markets and anticipate the next major moves that the market will be making for the week, all right, so that we have a directional bias, all right, and then we know what to expect from the market. Last week's analysis delivered about 19,373 pips, all right, and you can see all the statistics. 180 pips on AUDJPY, 115 pips on CAD-JPY, EUROJPY gave us 460 pips, NZDUSD gave us 196 pips, EURAUD 358 pips. We had 5,458 pips on gold. Euro card was 560 pips. AUD card 110 pips. ETHUSD was 11,556 pips, and GBPCHF gave us 380 pips. All right, so this week we're expected to do even better, all right, and I want you to stick with me till the very end of this session. So as usual, we're going to be starting with the indices, all right. We're going to be looking at the different indices for the various currency pairs, all right, and then based on what we observe from the indices, we can anticipate what the market would look like, all right, from starting from tonight mostly, all right, starting from tonight. So as usual, we start with the indices. We start with AXY, which is the index for the Australian dollar, which is the index. AXY is the index for the Australian dollar, all right, and then BXY is for the British pound, CXY is for the Canadian dollar, EXY is for the euro, all right, and then we have DXY for the dollar. We have JPY basket for JPY, all right. So this is AXY for the Australian dollar. All right, this is the daily time frame, and from what we are seeing here, all right, I remember that last week we talked about the fact that there's an order block here, all right. However, there's also an imbalance over here, based on what we saw from the weekly time frame, all right. So which means that the higher probability order block that price may most likely want to react from, all right, is somewhere around here. All right, at least from the weekly perspective or the weekly point of view. All right, and we can also see that there's an internal trend line. There's a confluence of an internal trend line right around there, as well as a major Fibonacci level. All right, there's also a major Fibonacci retracement level right around here. Okay, so want to see how price reacts when it gets to that confluence between the trend line and this area of inefficiency. All right. So remember, this is the weekly time frame. All right, and it will take a couple of days for price to reach that point. What does that mean? It means that as far as the Australian dollar is concerned, we can expect some degree of weakness. All right, we can expect some degree of weakness, after which we would see some strength, or we expect to see some strength from the Australian dollar. All right, so AUD should be a sell to buy, all right, short-term weakness. All right, that should be short-term weakness for the Australian dollar. Next, we want to look at BXY, which is for the British pound. All right, and as you can see, the British pound has been in a solid downtrend, all right, a very, very strong downtrend, which has been quite alarming, at least, to say the least. All right, it's been quite alarming. Because if you check on the monthly time frame, we can see that it seems price is trying all its possible best, all right, to arrive at the lower trend line in this, in this wedge. Okay, and if that's the case, it means that we will still be seeing some continued weakness in the pound, all right, some continued weakness, at least for maybe a couple of days, all right, a couple more days. This is on the monthly time frame. Let me go to the weekly. Yes. So we can see, or we can expect at least one more week of bearish movement, all right, from the pound. All right, even though from the daily time frame we can see that we're a bit closer to that trend line already, all right, but I expect that I don't expect price to just get to that trend line and bounce higher, all right, which means that at least to a large extent we should expect some maybe some little bit of consolidation before that bullish reversal finally takes root. All right. So next we're going to go to CXY, which is for the Canadian dollar. All right, the Canadian dollar index. And from what we looked at last week, all right, I showed us that there's an order block here. All right. However, if price escapes that order block, all right, like I showed us from the trend line, okay, if it escapes this area of confluence, it means that we can naturally expect price to come somewhere around the 70.19 area, all right, somewhere here. Or we may want to check how price reacts to this area of imbalance this week, all right. There's an area of inefficiency over here, all right, and we may want to see how price reacts at that point, all right, this week. There are possibilities that that reaction may, carry us all the way back to the top, all right, but the chances are quite slim. So what I want to see as far as this is concerned is maybe on the 1 hour time frame, all right, on the 1 hour time frame, I want to see a complete reversal in trend, all right, as evidenced or as visible from the moving averages, all right, and then we can begin to anticipate entries for a buy, all right, based on a stronger Canadian dollar. Okay, so next we'll look at DXY. And from what we can see, let's go to the weekly time frame first. From what we can see that the dollar has just reached that upper trend line, coupled with this area, this inefficiency zone on the monthly time frame, all right, and we have seen the first major pullback from that trend line, all right. However, on the daily time frame, we've not gotten confirmations for a bearish reversal yet, all right. In fact, the last activity of price from, I think that was Friday, all right, shows that price is currently within this area, all right, or maybe even possibly reacting from this zone, all right, this support zone right here. Okay. However, in order not to be too quick to react, all right, we want to see if that reaction continues. All right, I want to see if that reaction continues, and one way to check that is to see what happens on the lower time frames, 1 hour, 4 hours, all right. But altogether, I think it's safe to assume that we may have continued weakness, all right, on the dollar, because the dollar, the Feds have pushed the dollar too far, all right. They've pushed the dollar too far for the past couple of weeks, as you can see on the daily time frame. They've been pushing and pushing and pushing momentum increasingly, all right. So now I think we can begin to anticipate some weakness from the dollar finally, all right, after several weeks of waiting. So let's go to the EXY, which is for the euro. And I believe last week, talking about the euro, I showed us that price was already approaching this trend line, all right. I think the trend line was marked on the monthly time frame, yes. And we talked about the fact that from somewhere around here, we should see some strength, all right. We should see some increased strength in the euro, all right. And so far, I think last week we experienced that to some extent, all right, at least for about a couple of days. So what I think right now is that we may see, we can expect to get maybe a sell to buy, all right, such that price comes back into the zone before we have a major reversal, all right, which means that at least over the next couple of days, all right, or this week at least, all right, we're expecting some strong bullish reactions from the euro. All right, we're expecting strength from the European, from the euro. All right, the euro index. The next commodity or the next chart or the next index we'll look at is the JPY basket. And as you can see, last week we talked about the fact that the JPY basket was going to react bearishly from this particular zone, all right, and then start to go lower. And we can see that that has played out powerfully well, which was why all through last week I told us to focus more on pairs against the Japanese yen, all right, and look for opportunities for buy entries, all right. And that was why we could see that the EURJPY gave us about 400 and something pips just last week alone, all right, over 400 pips just last week alone. And based on what I'm seeing here, I think that the bearish movement may be continuing throughout this week, all right, because as you can see, this break of structure has just been confirmed by this retest of the other block, all right, such that we may continue to see prices go lower on the JPY basket. Maybe this will be the first target, all right, somewhere around the 7360, all right, somewhere around 7360 or 7348, and then the final target would be somewhere around 7020, all right, 7020 here for the JPY basket, all right, which is the Japanese yen. So having said that, right now we're going to go into the actual currency pairs, all right, and just correlate what we're seeing on all of these charts all together. So usually we start with the majors, all right, EURUSD, GBPUSD, and the likes, all right. And at the same time, if you have a commodity that you've been trying to analyze and you would like us to take a look at it together, all right, you can simply drop that that commodity in the chat box down there, all right, in the chat box or in the comment section in the group, all right, in the free group, and I would attend to it as soon as your request comes in, all right. So first of all, we're going to be looking at EURUSD. All right, last week we talked about the fact that EURUSD was going to react from this zone. All right, let me show you on the Monday time frame. Was going to react from this zone, all right, based on this trend line and the confluence of this inefficiency zone, all right, and we could see price come all the way to 1.05583, all right. However, on the 4 hours time frame, we need to confirm if that has occurred already. So what would I be looking for this week? On the 4 hours time frame, we can see we've broken structure here, we've broken structure here, all right. We have this very huge area of imbalance, all right. Let me mark that out quickly. All right, we have this huge area of imbalance, and at this point, I think we can combine that with the fact that there's also this other block right here. All right, there's this other block here. This imbalance has already been mitigated. All right. So looking for buy entries for EURUSD. I want to quickly check something. All right, so we may see EURUSD react a bit lower. All right, maybe come this way. All right, and then pick up. Or another alternative is that we come all the way down here. All right, this final order block down here. All right, before that move actually really kicks off. All right, but all the same, we're going to be looking for buy entries right now because I think that the break of structure or the change in structure has already been confirmed, all right, by this huge shift, all right, and then we can begin to anticipate what price does, maybe around here or here, all right. Either of these two zones, we can expect to see a major reversal in price, all right, so that we can start to take our buy entries all the way to the top. Next, we want to look at GBPUSD. All right. Let me quickly use this opportunity to say that if you are a Man U fan here tonight, you may want to take tomorrow as a public holiday. All right. Um, to just recollect your psyche. All right. To recollect your psychology. All right. It's no doubt how damaging some games can be. All right. So don't go into the new week with all right with an already bashed psychology. All right. Take some time off, recover your psychology, reposition yourself in the market. All right. And then I wish you all the best. All right. Sometimes being a football fan can be frustrating, but it's part of the perks of entertainment. All right. So this is GBPUSD. I think as far as GBPUSD is concerned, I have reasons to believe that price should go lower. All right. On the 4 hours time frame, it looks like there's a trap being set. All right. Price has already taken this liquidity from this other block over here. All right, from this other block over here. That other block is going to be clearer if you check on the lower time frames. All right. It's going to be clearer if you check from the lower time frames, like I said. So you can see that that's the other block. All right. So coming back to the 4 hours time frame, we can also see that. Okay, let me show you this on 2 hours quickly. Price has broken structure here. Okay, which means that this is what we have right now. All right. This manipulation. So we can expect price to come this week. All right, on GBPUSD. If peradventure we are going to go higher at all. All right. So I think for GBPUSD, we're going to see or we're going to experience a kind of sell to buy format. I think overall that's something likely to happen this week. All right. That kind of sell to buy format, bringing us all the way to this point here. All right. Before peradventure we get the buy. Okay, so I think this is what we can be looking out for. For those of you who want to trade GBPUSD, I think it's going to sell first. All right, and then we are going to finally get a buy entry from that zone. All right. So let's look at the next one. Somebody has requested gold. All right, so let's quickly look into gold. Remember, we talked about the fact that there's possibility that dollar gets weaker. All right, we've talked about that. I think I gave us this setup last week. All right, for gold. All right, this was the buy. All right, price has gotten to this area of inefficiency and the other block that follows it. All right, and this other block that followed it. So we are seeing a current sell. All right, a current drop. All right, which means that there are two options right here. Looking at it, we've seen break of structure. Break of structure is very similar to what we have on EURUSD. Double break of structure. We've seen this area of imbalance. All right, which increases the chances of price coming all the way to this level. All right, and reacting from there. So what would I be looking out for? Based on the fact that this already looks like our classic AMD kind of structure. All right, accumulation, manipulation, then distribution, and then we're seeing price coming all the way back here so that we can possibly, all right, possibly come all the way here. All right, that's one. Two, also recall that currently there's increased tension in Russia at the moment, all right, which means that more investors or more, the wealthy citizens, all right, wealthy investors are going to be looking for more means to invest more in gold, all right, to invest more in gold based on the fact that there is increased, instability in the economic situation of their countries. All right, we know that companies like MetaTrader, for example, are Russia-based. All right, and several other companies. Okay, so naturally we can expect to see price, dip a bit lower. All right, dip maybe a bit lower this way. I'm not sure this order block is going to be a strong one because there's really no solid area of inefficiency before that order block. All right, so we could see price dip lower and then pick up this way. All right, so for gold, I think it's also a sell to buy. All right, I think gold is also a sell to buy, and the reason why I think that is, like I posted in the group earlier, we're expecting an emergency meeting, all right, of the FOMC board, all right, later tonight or early tomorrow morning, all right, or tomorrow, according to their own time zone, all right. So that means that we can expect to see some crazy volatility in the markets, all right. And once that volatility subsides, then we can start to talk about, an entry for a buy. Please and please do not rush into a buy yet. All right, I'm actually kind of begging you guys right now, all right, because I'm not seeing that direction clear yet. All right, so I think we can see price come all the way to the 88.2 and then we get the bullish reaction, all right, the buy entry. So that is for gold. All right, somebody has requested NZDUSD. Mr. Destiny, you have made inquiries about 6 commodities so far. And if you're a Man U fan, like I can see you are saying right now, I want to beg you, please don't jump into trades tomorrow. All right, please calm down. All right, allow yourself recover from the tragedy of today's loss. Okay, so this is NZDUSD. All right, looking at it from the 4 hours time frame. I think last week on the daily time frame, we talked about the fact that these were the zones to watch. All right, those were the zones to watch that I gave us last week. All right, and currently we can see that price is already at one of those zones. Okay, we've seen this classic AMD pattern play out. All right, the accumulation, the manipulation, the distribution. Okay, so right now we can expect to begin to see some possible bullishness. All right, possible. All right, possible. I didn't say that it's confirmed yet. Okay, is this bullish? Give me a minute, let me check. No, I think NZDUSD. Let me quickly go to. Okay, beautiful. So please disregard that. NZD is still very bearish. All right, the New Zealand dollar is expected to still be very bearish. I didn't give us this entry or this analysis last week because I was watching how it will play out. So please, NZDUSD is a no-go area. All right, I think it would be a continued sell. So I think it's safe to say, look for sell entries on NZDUSD. All right. Then somebody has requested NAS 100. All right, NASDAQ. Now, usually in times of weakness in the dollar, all right, we can expect the stock markets to perform better. All right. However, based on the fact that there could be, we could see some investors diversify into gold as well. All right. So we may not see and altogether solid movement on NASDAQ yet, all right, but I think that it's safe to expect some bullish reaction, at least based on the fact that we've seen this double bottoms, all right, and liquidity grab from here, all right, and we can just naturally start to postulate buy entries. Now, for somebody like me, I think what I would be looking for, or what I would be expecting at this point, would be confirmations on the lower time frame, all right? Solid confirmations on the lower time frame that would help me actualize that bullish entry, all right? So, for example, on the 4 hours time frame, you want to see a shift in trend first, all right? A shift in market structure first, all right? And that would most likely validate that price is ready to go bullish, all right? So we may get to see something like this. All right, so that's for NASDAQ, all right, NAS 100. Somebody has requested US 30. So I think for US 30, we can see the bias is quite clear. US 30 disappointed me in the month of August. It didn't get to the order block that I was waiting for, but I think we got an entry last month, all right, September. I didn't take that entry because I've not been trading indices for a while. I've just lost interest in, dollar generally, all right, and everything that has to do with the United States. But I think that currently we can see price approaching our POI. I think the safest point of call would be to wait for price to get to that POI first. All right, wait, let price get to this POI, and then you can expect to take your buy entries from inside this POI. All right, so up next, I think someone else requested AUDUSD. So let's look at that quickly. All right, AUDUSD is still trading within our zones. All right, it's still trading inside our zones where I told us last week to watch out for reversals. All right, so it's still trading within our zones. 4 hours time frame, we've had a partial break of structure. All right, so I think the area I would want to watch is this area right here. All right, I want to watch this area here. All right, since we've already seen price mitigate the imbalance. All right, so I want to see how price reacts from this point. All right, I want to personally, I am expecting price to do this. All right, personally, all right, that's my personal expectation, that from this zone we get bullish entries. All right, so what I'll be doing is on the lower time frame, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, I will just be waiting for a shift in market structure and a confirmation trigger. All right, so that I can buy all the way to that point. All right, I think this should be about if all goes well, this should be about at least close to 200 pips. All right, close to 200 pips. 200 pips or more. All right, so that's AUDUSD. Someone has requested ETHUSD. Let's look at that quickly. ETHUSD, I think our analysis from last week played out perfectly well. All right, I talked about a sell before the buy. All right, we got the sell. All right, currently we also got the buy, but I think that there's a bit of an issue right now because I don't like this price action that I'm seeing over here. So what do I think is likely going to happen for ETHUSD? I think that ETHUSD might want to take us a bit lower. All right, might want to take us a bit lower before the bullish run continues. All right, which means that for this week on ETHUSD, okay, beautiful. This is my expectation. All right, for this week, as far as ETHUSD is concerned, I think this is what I would be watching for. all right, liquidity graph from this trend line drop into this other block right here, all right, and then we can see or you can expect that bounce to the top. All right, so this is ETHUSD on the daily time frame. So we're looking for a sell to buy. All right, we're looking for a sell to buy. All right, and I think this makes it even clearer. All right, so that's ETHUSD. The next one is GBPJPY. And GBPJPY performed a very, very interesting and crazy move last week. And I'm going to explain why I said it's crazy. All right, you see, all of this week to the downside, all right, the entire week, the entire movement was simply to take out liquidity. As you can see, the day opened above the other block, all right, the entire day opened above the other block, all right, came all the way down here to take out these equal lows on the daily time frame. All right, took out the equal lows on the daily time frame, still within this other block. All right, and then bounced all the way back to close above the other block and above the trend line. All right, before it gave this hefty movement. All right, and I think that our own entry for that situation or that scenario was a little bit later. All right, after price already broke structure, all right, we can see the shift of structure over here, and then gave the bullish entry confirmation. All right, nonetheless, what is next for GBPJPY right now? I think as we can all see, GBPJPY tends to be approaching very perilous times. All right, there's this trend line flow here. There's also this other block right here. All right, there's this other block right here that price seems to be reacting to already. All right, you can see that the previous break of structure was bearish. All right, this was the previous break of structure, very bearish. All right, daily time frame seems to also be in support of some bearish momentum. All right, let me quickly change the outlook on the Fibonacci so that you can see that clearly. All right, so you can see that we're approaching the 76.4 already. All right, we're approaching 76.4 already, which means that this is something that is likely going to happen. All right, I believe strongly that that is something that would most likely happen. All right, so GBPJPY, we may see GBPJPY continue bullish temporarily. All right, just until it finds the momentum to sell. All right, so for GBPJPY, the major direction we're looking for is a sell. All right, because the buy is already overextended. All right, and we may see prices, or we should see prices drop lower. All right, EURAUD and EURNZD. Okay, so as you can see, this is EURAUD based on last week's analysis. All right, we talked about the fact that EURAUD was most likely going to come into this zone and then drop. All right, so this is a possible reaction. All right, this is a possible move. It's about 300 pips move, 330 pips thereabouts. All right. However, I wouldn't jump into this trade because I would want to wait for a shift in structure on the lower time frames. All right. But I think that the presence of this inefficiency zone just simply goes to confirm that price needs to come all the way down here. All right. Maybe not as far. All right. We might get to see price resume its bullish momentum from somewhere around here. But nonetheless, I think that we have just confirmed for ourselves that price should be bearish. All right, price should be bearish. All right, maybe even all the way down here. Yeah, so let's see how this plays out. I would be interested in seeing how this unfolds during the week. All right, so Euro AUD, I think it's a clear sell. All right, and then from there we can start to expect the resumption of the bullish trend. All right, even if it's just going to be for a couple of maybe 100, 150 pips. All right, so that's Euro AUD. Up next, EURNZD. For EURNZD, we've broken out of the zones that I told us to watch out for. All right, we didn't get the reaction that we needed, which means that there are a few alternatives for price right now. So we are just going to take a Fibonacci of this overall move down here. All right, and we can see that this is the 88.2 level. We have a confluence of trend lines. All right, we have this other block right over here. All right, we have this other block right over here. And that's from the weekly time frame. So on the daily time frame, we may see Euro try to stretch itself, all right, EURNZD try to stretch itself even further higher, all right, maybe to somewhere around 1.7700, all right, maybe somewhere that high, and then from there we can anticipate that we would get some bearish momentum. That could be about that could be about 400 pips. All right, but let's see how this unfolds during the week. Remember, like I've always said, wait for solid confirmations before entering your trade. All right, so that's EURNZD. All right, EURNZD is for a sell. I think we also have EUROJPY here. All right, EUROJPY daily time frame, pretty interesting. We're still in our bullish trend. 4 hours time frame, also quite interesting. The 4 hours time frame is telling us that we are at this zone here. All right, and price has already reacted to that level. All right, price has reacted to that level. Currently going back up. But just to be on the safe side, I think I want to check a few things. All right. I want to check to see what price intends to do right here. So the main reason for doing this, all right, is because we can see that price has mitigated this imbalance already. All right. So we may get to see price do something along this line. All right, possibly something along this line. All right, reason being that currently, as you can see, the stochastic is almost oversold already. We have this convergence here. All right, as you can see, divergence rather. We have this divergence here. All right, which means that price might or should push a bit higher. All right, but altogether, I think we may see price come back a bit lower. All right, to take a breather and then continue higher. So for EUROJPY, all right, it's most likely going to be a buy to a sell to buy. All right, it's most likely going to be something along that line. All right, but like I've always said, we're going to have to wait for confirmations around these zones. All right, our confirmation entries around that zone, those zones, just to be on the safe side. All right, to be on the safe side. So that's for EURJPY, and I don't think I'm seeing people come up with commodities that they want. All right, so I think we're most likely going to wrap up here. But nonetheless, I want to show you my expected trade of the week. My anticipated trade of the week. I think to a large extent for me, this Euro AUD is most likely going to be my trade of the week. All right, most likely, most likely. And the reason why I said that is because usually the trade of the week is the trade that you expect to give you, one of the best movements. All right. Quickly, and hold on, please. Let me confirm. No, I'm not sure it's Euro AUD. Let me quickly check. I think I was taking a look at that commodity uh, right before the session. All right, yeah, EUROCAD. Mr. Roderick, we already talked about US 30. Yeah, so this is my trade of the week, EUROCAD. All right, EUROCAD. What is my expectation or what is my bias? All right, something along this line. All right, and the reason why is quite simple. On the daily time frame, we can see that this was the previous break of structure. All right, this is an area of untested supply. All right, this other block right there. All right, that other block right there has been untested, and currently price is about to test it. There's also the confluence of the overall 200-day moving average. All right, which means that we should or we ought to see price be lower. All right, dip a little bit lower, maybe into this other block here. All right, before we get the resumption of the buy. All right, so for me, I think EuroCAD is my trade of the week. Last week we gave GBP, gave some amazing reactions as well. All right, but right about now, I think we're approaching a very sensitive zone. Okay, from the daily perspective. All right, so I think for EURGBP, you can see this was the analysis that I gave some weeks back. EURGBP has closed. Okay, last week closed below the zone. All right, so we may be seeing price being lower. However, I think for me, I would want to wait to see a retest of this zone. All right, I would wait to see a retest of this area here. All right, before anticipating the continued drop even further down. All right, before I anticipate the continued drop lower. So having said that, remember the trade of the week that I will be watching with all my eyes open is EuroCAD. All right, I think we may get something from EURCHF as well. I think we may get something from EURCHF as well. All right, but that's not yet confirmed, at least not until we come into somewhere around this zone. All right, our trade of the week last week was actually EUROJPY. All right, and that was why it delivered massively as much as it did. All right, this was EUROJPY last week. All right, and you can see that I think on the 4 hours time frame, I drew this circle and told us to expect price reacting from here. All right, and as you can see, right on point from that level, we've had 486 pips. All right, so far. All right. But I think that we might get a reaction from either of these two levels as we go into the week. All right. But it's worth watching. All right. It's worth watching and seeing how price reacts around all of these zones, all of these levels. All right. So that we can be able to position ourselves appropriately for what price has in store. All right. GBPCHF will be another interesting one. Yeah, GBPCHF could be another interesting one. And the reason why is because I think these are areas where I personally want to watch. All right, these are areas where I personally would want to watch. All right, want to state. And price is already close to one of them. Price already within this area. So we can see there's also the 88.2 level. All right, we've had this clear break of structure. We've had this area of imbalance that has just been mitigated fresh. So I want to watch and see how price reacts from this other block. Although this is my expectation nonetheless, all right, I think that's my own expectation from GBPCHF, all right, GBPCHF. So these are the commodities that I'll be watching this week, all right, and it's going to be an amazing week. So far, those who signed up for the mentorship program in the month of September, so far they have been performing absolutely well, remarkably well. You can ask those who have signed up for the mentorship program for the month of September already, and they will tell you that it's been a fantastic experience for them, all right, so far for them. So the last batch of guys that I'm going to be mentoring personally one-on-one this year are the people that are currently in training at the moment, all right? So without further ado, I want to say a big thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure having you guys around. During the course of the week, we're going to be dropping maybe 1 or 2 signals, all right, or setups, all right, trade ideas for you guys, okay? And for those who are in the VIP platform, rest assured, we're going to have two live trading sessions, 2 live calls, just to share ideas and look at what exactly it is that we can anticipate from the market for the week. All right. So without further ado, I think it's safe to call it a night. My name remains Adetola Freeman. I am the lead instructor and CEO at EasyFX Academy. It's been an absolute pleasure having you guys on this call with us tonight. So till I come your way again next week, I want to say big thank you and God bless you. Have a prosperous week. Have a bountifully fruitful rest of the week. God bless you. See you next week. Bye-bye.